So this video won't have a lot of video clips in it because the good people at Warner Brothers don't like reviewers using their trailer footage for some strange reason, causing copyright infringement issues on our video content. So I guess we're gonna have to rely on still images to cover up my jump cuts and mess ups in this video. The Conjuring Last Rites is the latest chilling chapter in the Conjuring Universe. Vera Farmiga, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and Patrick Wilson return as Ed and Lorraine Warren as they take on one of their most terrifying cases yet, the haunting of the Smurl family. The family is being tormented by a spiritual force tied to a cursed mirror with a dark history. One that's actually haunted the Warrens before. But it's not just about the case. The film also gives us a more personal look at the Warrens' lives, especially their daughter Judy, who's now an adult and starting to experience intense supernatural visions of her own. As the mirror's power grows, things spiral out of control fast. The haunting escalates at the Smurl home in Pennsylvania, and the Warrens, along with Judy and her fiance, are forced to confront the evil trapped inside the mirror once and for all. Is this truly the final chapter to the Conjuring series, or an open door for a new generation of paranormal investigation through the daughter? The film is directed by Michael Chaves, who's directed 2 Conjuring Universe films, being the Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It and The Nun 2. The film is actually based on a case investigated by the real Warren family, and if you wait until the credits, you actually get to see real-life photos from the real event in 1986. The film claims that this is the event that ended the Warrens' career and is the climatic end to the series. I saw the first Conjuring years and years ago, and honestly, I couldn't tell you much about it. I never got into this franchise, and even though I know the basic background of who these people are, I can't really compare it to the other films in the franchise. I had really no interest in seeing this film, and I actually thought about taking the week off, but I went ahead and saw this film in IMAX and kept an open mind. And seeing it in IMAX, do you really need to see it in IMAX? It's not filmed in IMAX, it's one of those made for IMAX films. Actually, I don't even think it's that. I think it's just shown in IMAX. It doesn't really add anything. Save your 12 bucks. The film actually has a really great start. The Warrens are investigating a haunted mirror in 1964. As a very pregnant Lorraine starts to investigate, she is tormented by the evil spirit and goes into labor. The baby being future Judy Warren, played by Mia Tomlinson. The baby is delivered stillborn, and as Lorraine prays for her newborn baby, she comes back to life. It's a very sweet, emotional scene that surprised me for a horror film, and it had me a little emotional. And it was a great setup to get you to care about this couple and their child, and get you wondering what this mirror is all about when it shows up at another family's home later on in the film. There's also a really sweet montage of Judy growing up and going through all the hurts and hurdles of life, and specifically for her dealing with the voices that she hears and ghosts that she's able to see due to her heritage, I guess. But it leads you to a very sweet mother-daughter scene that feels very emotional and very real. The film is kind of a slow burn and takes its time with the Warren family and their story, including the classic story of the boyfriend, relationship with the hesitant father and the accepting mother, which is sweet and fun to watch at times, but the film stays here just a little too long. I enjoyed the story actually more than I did the heart element of the film. But that's sort of a problem if you're trying to be a horror film. I appreciate the character development, but it feels like a totally different film. Half the film feels like a horror film and the other like a family, I guess, drama comedy. The Warrens' story runs parallel to the Smurl family's crisis, and the Warrens don't show up to help until the last 30 to 45 minutes of this 2-hour and 15-minute film. The Smurls are a loving, sweet, Catholic Pennsylvania family who is celebrating one of their daughter's confirmation into the Catholic Church. As a confirmation gift, the grandparents give the granddaughter the mirror that they bought off of a truck somewhere. When they start to experience some strange occurrences in the house, they start to look for help from the church, specifically Father Gordon, who's connected to the Warrens. The film has a great look to it. It feels very 1980s in set design, costume design, and color grade of the film. It does a fantastic job immersing you into this time period. The introduction to the Smurl family starts with the classic 1985 song She Sells Sanctuary by The Cult, and gives you a little David Bowie, Let's Dance, and a few other 80s classics that I really enjoyed. The cinematography was actually a nice surprise in a lot of areas. One scene at an Italian restaurant where the camera circles behind Mr. Warren to Mrs. Warren in a tight shot of her with this blurry image of the ghost in the background felt very creative and haunting. And there's some beautiful tight macro insert shots in the film that are really, really well done. I really enjoyed the look and feel of the film. Again, I love the stories of these two families, but when it came to the haunting and horror element of the film, what everyone's actually there for, I didn't really care that much. I never understood the concept of these spirits tormenting people for fun for no reason. I don't get why, if the ghosts or evil spirits want to kill someone, why don't they just do it? Scenes where someone in the family thinks they're seeing something in the shadows, then turns on the light and the spirit disappears. I don't understand that point. What's the ghost's problem? They all just seem kind of like jerks. They do kill one person in the film, but that's pretty much it. They don't seem that threatening, just sort of annoying. One of the sisters coughs up a lot of blood and glass in one scene, which you'd think would have some really damaging effects. But in the next scene or two, she's physically fine, like nothing happened. I mean, she's emotionally wrecked, as she should be, but physically, she's all good. When you actually get to the point where you see the ghosts, they look pretty ridiculous. One lady looks like something you would see at Six Flags Fright Fest. One of the staff walking around in really fake zombie-looking makeup. And the other, a kind of cliche axe-wielding psychopath. But again, a staged haunted house character actor. The main evil spirit you don't really see much of, but when you do, it's crawling around the ceiling, just white looking, I don't know. That spirit that they end up fighting with is actually in the mirror pretty much the whole time, and they're trying to get it out of the attic so they can just put it in the Warrens' basement with all the other haunted items. That kind of reminded me of that old Friday the 13th TV series storyline, where a group of people are collecting haunted household items. Watching two grown men wrestle a huge mirror out of the attic wasn't really that thrilling for me. It looked like just two guys trying to move. The Conjuring: The Last Rites is just an average okay horror film. It does do some really great storytelling on the front end, but it takes a long time to get to any real horror element, and the film is way too long for what it is. I did enjoy watching Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson in these two roles, and I enjoy the family dynamic and the story of this family, but the horror that you're there for is pretty weak and not scary at all. It's an okay film that I probably won't think about after this review, so I'm giving Last Rites 2.5 stars out of 5. It's rated R for bloody, violent content and terror, and I think I counted one bad word in this film. Kind of surprised by that. I do have to say I did really enjoy the ending. It was kind of sweet and endearing, and if they are wrapping up this franchise, it was a great ending to wrap up the Warren story. So let me know if you're a fan of the Conjuring franchise. I'd love to know what your thoughts are about this film. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you for all of your likes, and thank you for subscribing to the channel. And remember, don't wait till it streams. Let's go to the theater and let's see it together.